Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Double Exposure. And one of the hardest things about being a photographer is looking for a location for your shoots. Be it portrait shoots, landscape shoots, wedding shoots, or any kind of shoot. So today, Amber and I are going to share with you guys our 4 tips to shooting portraits in any location. And this video is very exciting for us because it's our first time to do a sponsored video. Shout out to the guys over at Skillshare for sponsoring this video.
Yay!
And stick around to the end of this video, the post-credit scenes, because the guys over at Skillshare want to hook you guys up with something cool. So, without further ado, let's get into our first tip. So let's start with the basics. The first tip are your settings. So the first thing you want to adjust is your shutter speed. Depending on your focal length, you want your shutter speed to be twice the number of your focal length. So say for these shoots, what I'm going to be using is an 85mm. So you want your shutter speed to be at least 1/60th or 200th of a second, or anything faster than that.
So for me, I'm using a 50mm, but it's on a D5500, which is a cropped sensor. So I'll be using around the same shutter speed as him because this translates into around a 75mm lens.
The second setting you want to adjust is your aperture. Because you want to be able to shoot portraits anywhere, you want to be able to focus on your subject. So that means setting your aperture at its widest or stopping wide open.
So on my lens, which is the 50mm from Nikon, it's a 1.8, so that is the widest aperture I can get it on.
But on my lens, the Sigma 85mm 1.4 Art, its aperture can go to f1.4, which is great, so I'm going to be using that for portraits.
Bokeh! Okay, and the last setting is ISO, and depending on your location, just use that to compensate for the other two. Now that we've got that out of the way,
let's get to shooting and we'll discuss the next 3 tips. Alright, so for our first place we're going to shoot at, we are here along EDSA. It's one of the busiest avenues here in the Philippines, and a lot of people don't like it, including myself.
traffic's bad.
Traffic's very bad. But now we're gonna use it and turn it into a really fun place to shoot. So let's get to it. So our second tip is use a longer lens or zoom in. A more zoomed in lens or a telephoto lens compresses the background and really focuses on the subject more. It creates great subject and background separation and great bokeh as well, which we all love in our portraits.
As you all know, I don't like the nighttime.
I do.
Boo! Okay, let's go.
So for this, I would recommend a prime lens, something like a 50mm or an 85mm, or maybe even if you have extra cash, a 105mm.
Wow!
Yeah, we don't have that extra cash. So 50 or 85mm prime lenses are key. And because it's a prime lens, usually they have the widest aperture at f1.8 or 1.4, which is great in situations like these. While we were shooting at EDSA, it was really important to us that our prime lenses were able to open up to f1.8 or f1.4 because we were able to create that bokeh and get more light in because we were shooting at night. So because we were using a longer lens that's really meant for portraits, we were able to get that really nice subject and background separation, and we were able to turn the lights of the buses and the cars into beautiful bokeh.
Next tip, it's actually to move closer Because usually with unusual locations, or if you want to be able to shoot portraits anywhere, you're not going to want to see everything that's in the background, and you want to focus on just one thing and keep that element isolated for that really good picture. So for the location that we chose, which is actually just like Gab's backyard, you know, there's a lot of cars, there's like some people's like garages in the area, but there's also a bunch of plants and some flowers. So you want to zoom in on those and keep those as the background of his beautiful face and ignore all the other things. And yeah.
Okay, so we're here in my grandparents' house and there's a lot of old paintings here, so I think it'll be a pretty cool, interesting location. Not something that you'd normally shoot at, but let's get shooting.
It's a vibe.
So for our last step, it would be to use something to cover out or reflect something out of the background. So if you're shooting at a place that doesn't have exactly the nicest background and you want an element to be removed, you can use prisms to reflect them out and say goodbye to those elements that you don't really like. So the technique here is to put the prism or anything reflective in front of your lens, and it'll reflect a nicer part of the image and it'll cover up the less aesthetic parts of your image. Now this is a lot of trial and error, so just put it in front of your lens and see what works for you, because it's not always going to be an instant fix. It also makes the portraits more interesting because it creates a different perspective and it really introduces something different into the photo. And also you're able to focus on the portrait of the person and the subject itself. So that's a huge plus.
Dope.
And if you want some reflective things to use for your photos, a good start is a prism and this sun catcher thing. And as always, these stuff will be listed down in the description below, so if you're interested, go check it out. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Double Exposure. I heard you guys missed Amber on the videos, so here she is now.
Yay!
And yeah, I hope I was able to share some of our skills with you guys and you're able to use it in your own shoots. So I'd love to see you guys shooting in weird locations and finding a way to make it look nice for your photos.
So we hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. This is a really fun shoot. I have so many different pictures of you now.
Yeah, that was really fun. And modeling was weird, but fun.
Yeah, but you know what I don't get? Since when are your videos this cinematic?
Actually, I learned it off this Skillshare course.
Oh, okay. I think I've heard of Skillshare. I see it on like Instagram and sometimes on YouTube. It's that online learning community, right?
Yeah, the one with like different classes and all, like including tech, photography, video. I even saw one with Sarah Dici teaching it.
So that's where you got the idea for this video.
Yeah, pretty much. It was a storyboarding class by Ryan Faulkner. It was super cool. Link in the description. Yeah, it was super useful because he went through all the shots, like from the really tight to the really wide, and showed the purpose of each shot, and it's quite insightful actually.
Oh, that's so cool. But like, how would that work for me if I wanted to say learn how to draw or paint? is that also on Skillshare?
Yeah, for sure they have that. They even have a premium membership that lets you access unlimited high-quality classes and all sorts of stuff. So you have your videography, photography, and even painting. Yeah, and the best part, it's less than $10 a month.
Oh my god.
That's less than you spend on milk tea a month. Oh, but so you can buy more milk tea, you can use my link because Skillshare is letting me give the first 500 people 2 months of Skillshare Premium for free. So yeah, click the link in the description and the first 500 people who click it will get 2 months of Skillshare Premium for free. How does that sound?
Hey, solid. More milk tea and more learning. Thanks, Skillshare.
Now this is set up, I'm going to show you guys the setup.